What is going on, everybody? AHS Rules back again with another video, and we're here with an exciting video, something I've been looking forward to doing. I had this idea a while ago, and then I didn't realize that it was not out, and now that it's finally out, I can talk about it. You're probably wondering what the hell I'm talking about. Each year, the NBA releases the GM surveys. There's 50 questions. Don't worry, I'm not going through all 50. They release 50 questions that the NBA general managers answer, and then a lot of the basketball community reacts to it, and this is my reaction to it. So, like I said, I thought this came out a lot earlier, so I could have done this a lot earlier. But that was not the case. But now that it is out, I can talk about it. So, like I said, there are 50 different questions. I will not answer. If I will say all 50 questions. I might not answer all of them because, like I said, I have a lot of other NBA content coming out over the next couple of weeks because the NBA season is quickly approaching us, October 24th. The main two videos are my power rankings / season rankings predictions and my award predictions. So in this, I'll talk about it briefly, but I won't give an answer because I want to give those answers in those videos. But don't worry, once those videos are out, I'm going to come back to this one and leave a comment that way. If you don't want to watch all of them. I think that'd be the simplest solution. So here we go. I'll also have the answers to that some other people provided. I should also say this. I'm a Grizzlies fan. Now, I am biased, but I will not answer for the Grizzlies for every question. But if I do, I'll at least provide a good explanation towards it. So, which team will win the 2024 finals? The top two answers are a tie at 33% between the Boston Celtics and the Denver Nuggets. But my answer, the Milwaukee Bucks. They traded for Damian Lillard, who a lot of people all last year arguing is like a top 10 player, a top 3-point guard, etc. They essentially just swapped him for Drew Holiday. Defense might come back to bite them in the butt, but that's something we'll have to wait to see. But the main reason I'm saying this is the last 2 years that we saw them in the playoffs, they got screwed because of injury. Because last year Giannis was hurt, and the year before that Chris Middleton was hurt. If we could see a consistently healthy team in the playoffs, which the last time that we saw that, they ended up winning the finals. So my pick is the Milwaukee Bucks. The case for the Denver Nuggets is just, I'm going to say this several times throughout the year. I don't know. They might miss Bruce Brown. Like, their starting five stayed the same, but Bruce Brown came in and replaced some of the players in the starting five when need be and was very good in that role. And they didn't really do anything. Like, the closest they did to replacing him is Justin Holiday. Maybe Christian Braun could provide some of the same things that Bruce Brown did, but they didn't do anything to replace Bruce Brown. I think that might hurt them a little bit, but it is also an easy fix with a trade. But I think they'll wait to see how much they miss him if they do miss him. So that's why I did not pick the Nuggets. So yeah. Next, Eastern Conference and Western Conference power rankings. I'm only going to do the top 3 because, again, I said that I'm going to do a power rankings video in the near future, and I feel that the top 2 in the Eastern Conference are consistent. And even in the Western Conference, the top 3 is also consistent. So, the West, I said the Nuggets, the Suns, and the Lakers. In the East, I have the Bucks, Celtics. Now, who do I have at 3? So, on here, it goes Boston, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Philly, New York. I have New York at 3. I think they ended their year great last year. Jalen Brunson had a great year, and they added Dante DiVincenzo in the offseason. They did not get any worse this offseason. And when you look at the Sixers, we have no clue what the hell is going to happen with James Harden. We're still questioning all of that. The other team that's like in the same level as them is the Cleveland Cavaliers, which they beat in the playoffs. So I think I have to give the rub to the Knicks and put them at 3. So my Eastern Conference rankings for now are the Bucks, Celtics, and Knicks. Western Conference, Nuggets, Suns, and Lakers. Of course, I'll talk more about that in the coming weeks. For the Western Conference rankings in this, they have it Denver, Phoenix, the Lakers, Warriors, Clippers, Grizzlies, Pelicans, Kings, Mavericks, and the Thunder. I think the team I kind of have the argument with is the Pelicans. And again, I'm going to talk a lot about them in the future. But I think I would have the Kings in front of the Pelicans. And even a stint, I might have the Grizzlies and Kings in front of the Clippers. But I think regular season-wise, it's a debate that we'll get into again in the future. So this next question I'm skipping because it is who will win the MVP award. That's the biggest award in the league, and I don't want to, like I said, I'm doing a worst prediction, and I won't lie to you, I still don't know who the hell is going to win it. There's a lot of, it's going to be based a lot on narratives on who I think wins this award. But their answers are Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum, and Luka Doncic. Other players that received votes, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think Tatum's going to have a difficult chance of winning it just because the Celtics are a really dominant team. And I guess you could even say, with it being a team, it's hard to single out one player. We all know Tatum's the best player on that team, but it's hard to single him out. And I guess you could make the same argument with Giannis, but I almost combined his name. But Giannis does a lot for his team, so it kind of stands out more than Tatum with the Celtics. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was Jokic, just based on he's going to keep doing the same thing every year. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was Jokic. But we also might get a part where he does not care, like he did at the end of last year. So we shall see. Next question: if you were to start a franchise, who would you sign? The top three answers: at 5, Anthony Edwards; 4, Luka Doncic; 3, Giannis Antetokounmpo; 2, Victor Wembanyama; and number 1, which is also my answer, Nikola Jokic. We see that the guys that play with him are a lot better. He makes guys a lot better. He helps the team a lot, as I'm going to keep saying. And I think it would be easy to surround a team with him, where with Giannis, it might be a bit more difficult. Now, that being said, Wembanyama, I didn't really want to answer him because he has not even played on the NBA yet. But if you were like, it would probably be best to have Wembanyama because right now he's on his rookie deal. And you can just sign star to star and surround him. So Wembanyama as an answer is okay. I'm not putting him as my answer. I went with Nikola Jokic. Next, which player forces opposing coaches to make the most adjustments? Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, and Joel Embiid. My answer for this was Joel Embiid. Because I watched a lot of 76ers games in which there's a lot of fouls, mainly by Joel Embiid. And I think that I was thinking this because when I see teams and coaches get the most frustrated, it is with Joel Embiid and how the hell they got to guard him. And after several years of MVP performances and last year actually winning the MVP award, I went with Joel Embiid. Now, my honorable mentions, Steph Curry, obviously. Nikola Jokic is another obvious answer. But with Jokic, either know he's going to help the other guys and make the other guys better, or there might be a case, because I remember there's specifically, I believe it was game 4 against Minnesota in the playoffs, where he just had the ball and kept scoring, and it's just like, what the hell, we were not expecting this, which you should have. He's multiple-time MVP. So Jokic as an honorable mention as well. Also put Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Devin Booker, because those two guys are buckets, and I've seen them give a lot of teams buckets last year. So my definitive answer was Joel Embiid, because I've seen a lot of teams and coaches get frustrating trying to guard him. Now, question number 7. We got a long ways to go. We're 8 minutes into this video, so this might be a longer video, but it's 50 questions. I think that should be expected. Who is most likely to break out in 2023 and 24? Which this is my first homer pick. Desmond Bane. John Morant's going to miss the first 25 games. Last year, at the very beginning of the season, Desmond Bane looked great, was on an all-star trajectory, then he got hurt and kind of screwed that up. And he still, even when he came back with the lingering injury, he still was able to produce. And right now, for the Grizzlies, he's more than likely in these first 25 games going to be the first option. I think my answer is Desmond Bane. Now, some honorable mentions. Cade Cunningham. Last year, he did not play much, but when he did play, it was great, and it was looking improving for him. It was kind of fitting because I got a Pistons hat on. But he was the number 1 overall pick, so I feel it was a bit weird, but I feel that he's going to play so well in year 3, we're going to be like, oh my God, where the hell has this been? Because we've missed it. We haven't seen much of that. I was also thinking maybe a player from the Portland Trail Blazers or the Houston Rockets. The Trail Blazers, because Damian Lillard's not there. Who's going to be the number one guy there? That's the main reason I struggle with that, because it's a great debate. Is it going to be DeAndre Ayton, the former number one overall pick? Anthony Simons, the longest tenured guy there? Jeremy Grant, the guy they just gave a lot of money to? Scoot Henderson, the third overall pick? There's a lot to choose from the Portland Trailblazers, and even the case with the Rockets. I think more than likely it would be Jalen Green, and that would be because they added veterans like Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks around him. And when you look at who's probably the more likely to get a bucket out of those three, I'd say Jalen Green. But also the Rockets got a new coach in Ime Udoka, who his first year as a head coach, he ended up taking a team to the finals. I don't see that happening with the Rockets, but he is definitely not a bad coach. So I think Desmond Bane, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green are my definitive answers. And also, I don't look at that as the most improved award, because Desmond Bane, I don't think would win it, because he could have won it like 2 years ago. So, and with the other two guys, they were the number 1 and 2 overall picks. It just seems very forgotten, because when you look at that draft, you look at Evan Mobley, Franz Wagner, and Scotty Barnes. So those are my 3 answers. But Desmond Bane is my definitive one. Next, best point guard. I think you have to say Stephen Curry. He's the most accomplished one, hardest one to guard, and he does a lot. Luka, Ja, Shea, Dame, my honorable mentions. Best shooting guard. Now, I will say this. The thing I hate about this on the GM survey is these GMs start there's no criteria or set positions. So when you look at it on here, they have Stephen Curry at 2. Which I just don't like that. They also, in their also receiving votes, they have Jimmy Butler and Jason Tatum, which I think is a bit crazy. I think I'm going to say Devin Booker. I like giving Devin Booker a bit of praise, because that playoff series last year, he looked hella dominant, and I definitely thought there was a great chance the Suns were going to win that against the Nuggets. So I will say Devin Booker, but come this time next year, that might not be the case, because he might be in the point guard category. My honorable mentions were Anthony Edwards, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown. Also, I don't like doing position rankings, because I feel there's a lot of them out there, and I just feel it's all kind of the same, but this is the closest you'll get to me to doing that. Next, best small forward. I said LeBron James. I won't lie to you. It's kind of, I have no clue what year he's in anymore. Is this year 20 or year 19? Because he got drafted in 03. Might be year 20. I don't know how they count that. I think it is year 20, because he got drafted 2003, 04. We're going into 23, 24. I said LeBron. Honorable mention Jason Tatum, because maybe you consider him power forward, maybe not. But I feel LeBron all around still does a lot. Where Jason Tatum, I feel, is a more dominant offensive force than he is defensive. Which, again, this time next year, roles will probably be reversed, and Tatum will be my consistent answer. Next, power forward. Also, in the little honorable mention, Luka Doncic got 3. I don't look at Luka as a small forward at all. The top 2 here, the only 2 that are here, 97% said Giannis Antetokounmpo, 3% said Kevin Durant. I would be in that 97%. I'm saying Giannis Antetokounmpo. Then last position, best center, Nikola Jokic at 93%. Also receiving votes, Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid. I've said Nikola Jokic for a lot of my answers thus far. I don't know why the hell I would change it. So, Nikola Jokic. Next, highest percentage on total. That doesn't really matter. Which team made the best overall moves this offseason? Now, a lot of the top 2 answers are the Boston Celtics and Milwaukee Bucks. And they're tied at 23%. But my answer is the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't like giving the Lakers credit, because I'm a Grizzlies fan. But they just made the conference finals and brought back a lot of the free agents they had that made them to that conference finals run. D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Roy Hachimura. They didn't overpay for any of them. While they also added good players in Gabe Vincent, Christian Wood, and Taurean Prince. And also guys to take a chance on, and we don't know what the hell we could expect out of them, in Cam Reddish and Jackson Hayes. So, for a team that just made the conference finals, and they added a lot, and did not lose anything, and they didn't hit, like I said, they didn't have to give up much to get those guys. I said the Lakers. So, here's my answer. Which one player acquisition will make the biggest impact? I think Damian Lillard. When you think of Dame and Giannis together, when the trade first happened, I didn't think of it that way, but now I keep thinking of it that way. it is going to be hard as hell to guard both Giannis and Damian Lillard. And Damian Lillard might just have crazy, I can't even say crazy stats because we've seen him have that before, but it just might be more of a rarity. And once we see those crazy stats now, we'll be like, oh yeah, he still got that in him. But I just think he's going to make a lot of the team step up to make up for the defensive shortcomings that they're losing with Jrue Holiday. So offensively, he might provide a lot of the offense while the rest of the team provides a lot of the defense. So I think Damian Lillard. Number 2, Jrue Holiday. 3, Bradley Beal. 4, Porzingis. Tied at 4, Kristaps Porzingis, Fred VanVleet, Victor Wembanyama. I guess Wemby is a good answer, but I don't know how much that's going to help the team win. Where I think the other guys, maybe not Fred VanVleet, they're going to help their teams win. I ain't gonna lie, my allergies are kicking my ass right now. What was the most underrated player acquisition? I will say, being a Grizzlies fan, seeing Marcus Smart at number 1 does put a smile on my face. But I'm not going to be biased. I don't think that's that underrated because he's going to be starting in the starting lineup. He's a former Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think it's that underrated. I think it's fairly rated. I'm happy to have him on the team, so I'm not complaining about that. Where all the other guys, it's kind of moves that nobody talks about. Where I feel this move is still talked about a lot. So my answer for this was Dante DiVincenzo. He provided quality minutes for the Warriors last year. Years prior, he helped the Bucks be a playoff contender. It kind of sucked that he never got to play in the finals because of an injury. Now he's on a Knicks team that are constantly changing their lineups, and now he's going to play with Jalen Brunson, who played with at Villanova. I feel there's somebody, Josh Hart. I can't want to say Mikal Bridges because I just picture that, but it's Josh Hart, not Mikal Bridges. So I said Dante DiVincenzo for this. Honorable mentions, Marcus Smart. I'm going to give flowers and praise there because I'm a Grizzlies fan. Also, Patrick Beverley. Now, with last year being the exception, Patrick Beverley always made the playoffs. Now, last year kind of didn't really count because he was on the Bulls and they were in the play-in territory, but he didn't end up on the team until later in the year. But Patrick Beverley always made the playoffs, and he always had some type of effect on the team. And even with the Lakers, where last year, the last 2 years, we saw a lot of ugly basketball for the Lakers. With Pat Bev there, it kind of was still a bit ugly, but it's still, there had more bright moments with Patrick Beverley being there. And now being with the Sixers, we don't know who the hell's going to be out there for them, mainly James Harden. I think he's going to provide something for that team. Which team will be the most improved? Now, I looked at this as which team's going to make the biggest jump in the standings. I said the Indiana Pacers. They had 2 underrated free agency or offseason moves in adding Obi Toppin, who they didn't really give up much to get him, and then they signed Bruce Brown, who was just a key piece to a finals team. And last year, when Tyrese Halliburton was playing, they were on the road to a play-in playoff team. And then he got hurt, stopped playing towards the end of the year, and then that just stopped. So I think Tyrese is going to be more healthy this year, and they made 2 good off-season moves. I think that's going to make them move up a bit in the standings. Where over here, they have the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have OKC, Houston Rockets, Dallas Mavericks, Detroit Pistons, and Orlando Magic. I feel, though, here's the thing. The Rockets, I think we're the number 15th seed in the West. They might have been 14. They'll probably be not the worst team in the West, but I don't see them making the play-in. The Thunder, I feel, they made the 10th seed without Chet. Like, team-wise and watching the Thunder play is going to be night and day now that they're adding Chet Holmgren. But again, I'm basing this off the standings and who I see making the biggest jump. And I don't see that for the Thunder. I think the Thunder, more than likely, are going to stay in the same territory. Where with the Pacers, I feel the biggest jump taking place there. The Mavericks, I guess you can make a better case for because now we're going to have a full season of Luka and Kyrie, so I'll give an honorable mention to the Dallas Mavericks. What was the most surprising move of the offseason? I said Chris Paul to the Golden State Warriors. Just based on history and seeing the Warriors beat the Rockets with Chris Paul twice, and the first time, obviously, he was hurt in. And just seeing and even Lob City Clippers era, it's just like seeing the history there, it's just weird to see him now in a Warriors uniform. And also, they gave up Jordan Poole, who's supposed to be the future of their franchise. They also had to give up a pick in that. It's just like, that trade was extremely weird, and we just have more questions with this move than we do answers still. So I said the most surprising move, Chris Paul to the Warriors. Next, who will win Rookie of the Year? Now, I skipped out on the MVP award. I feel this one is a bit more consistent, has a consensus. I'm just going to say Victor Wembanyama. I think a lot would have to go wrong for him not to win this. But I would love to see a surprise, a shocking upset. Chet Holmgren, again, it's going to, I hate it for him, because seeing how Ben Simmons was treated, where he missed his first year, and then the next year he played and he dominated and he won Rookie of the Year, that I could see the same thing happen to Chet. I don't want it to see it happen, but I could see it happen. So I have Chet there. Scoot definitely is going to be a great player, but that Trailblazers team has a lot of questions now, and a lot of people need to touch that basketball. Where with the Thunder, Chet's probably the third option. Shea's number one, obviously. It's a debate between him and Giddey. Wembanyama, he's the number one pick. We've heard them be hyped up for over a year. Victor's going to get his touches. Where with Scoot, might be a bit more question, because he got Simons, Jeremy Grant, Shaedon Sharpe, DeAndre Ayton. And I'm probably forgetting somebody else. Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton. I don't think I am. Malcolm Brogdon, because he's still on the team. He hasn't been traded yet. So that's why I went with Wemby, Chet, Scoot. Which rookie will be the best in 5 years? I went with Chet with this. If you don't want to consider him a rookie because of what I just said, then that's fine. But I think when you look at Thunder, Spurs, and Trailblazers, I think the Thunder 5 years from now are going to be a way better position. And so it is mainly going to be because of Chet. And I just kind of want to give Chet the nod over Wemby in this category. Which rookie was the biggest steal? Cam Whitmore. I'm going to say Keontae George because I saw Isaiah first. I went with Cam Whitmore at 20. That's my answer, because he was supposed to go top 5, and then he just fell all the way to 20. And that was a bit crazy, but he's with the Rockets, who, again, I'm going to keep saying this over and over again. They made a lot of changes this offseason. I don't know if Cam Whitmore is going to get the ball. Scoot was tied at 2 at Keontae George, which, Scoot, that's fair, but I just... the same thing I've been saying for the past 2 minutes. So, Imani Bates also received a vote. I don't know if he's going to get any mentions. Or any minutes. I said mentions. Minutes. Best international player in the NBA. Nikola Jokic. Let's just, we're kind of getting like a lot of the same answers now. Best international player not in the NBA. The number one answer is Nikola Mirotic, who I felt that's kind of a weird answer considering he used to be in the NBA. So I went with Nikola Mirotic as well. I also was going to just skip that question entirely, but I read it anyways. Next, we get to the defensive category. I do need to cough, but I don't anymore. That's kind of funny. Best defensive player. I'm a Grizzlies fan. Y'all saw who ended up with that Defensive Player of the Year award last year. Jaren Jackson Jr. That's going to be my answer for that. Best perimeter defender. They have it as Drew Holiday, Mikal Bridges, Alex Caruso, Marcus Smart, Kawhi Leonard. My answer for this, I went a bit different. I have 2. LeGuent's Dort. I think out of the guys that were just listed here, Lou Dort plays the hardest defense, and teams I think I saw. I guess you could look for this at a lot of categories, but out of the players I just listed and Lou Dort, I think I see the numbers change for guys guarded. So when I just confuse the hell out of y'all. I think Lou Dort, numbers wise, if you look at the matchups, he hurts the other guy that's playing. I'm sounding like a complete jackass right now. When you look at the defensive numbers, Lou Dort, when he's matched up with people, I think changes it the most. So that's why I went with Lou Dort. Honorable mention to OG Anunoby, because he was doing a lot of the same of that last year, but he just missed a lot of the year because they wanted to trade him and they never ended up trading him. And I'm still a bit bitter that he didn't get traded to the Grizzlies, but I definitely have gotten over that now. So I went with LeGuent's Dort, but I'm not going to argue with Marcus Smart because he's on the Grizzlies. Drew Holiday as well. So Mikal Bridges, I kind of backed away from just because I think last year we saw a lot of an offensive Mikal Bridges opposed to a defensive Mikal Bridges. Where Lou Dort, And even those other guys, I think Lou Dort's main attribute is his defense. Best interior defender. This one, Jaren Jackson Jr. was voted number 1. And I don't want to keep seeming like a homer. But seeing the playoffs, I did go with Anthony Davis. Having to watch Anthony Davis for a full round, have like 5 block games, it hurt a lot. And just seeing the team just go towards him just standing there and just still blocking it just bothered the hell out of me. So I went with Anthony Davis. Honorable mention to Brook Lopez because there's a lot of what he did last year and had him having a great defensive player of the year award. But I feel with Jaren, he's the best defensive player all around. So I want to give him his kudos there. Whereas here, he definitely fits the criteria, all that there, but I just didn't want to have the same answer. And also I didn't want to have the homer answer. Most versatile defender. Now, I'm a bit confused with versatile because when I think of versatile, I think of both ways. But when I Googled what versatile like actually means, it's like the makes you change the most. I said Paul George, who he did receive votes. Also said Evan Mobley, who he did not receive any votes. But I think Paul George can do both of what I just said and makes you change a lot. Best defensive team. Number 1, the Boston Celtics. It's kind of understandable. It might be a bit different now because Marcus Smart's not there, but they still, the last 2 years, mainly that 1 year with Ime Udoka, they were locking up, especially in that first round of series against the Brooklyn Nets. Number 2, the Memphis Grizzlies. Definitely understandable because they have the last 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards. And again, this last time I say it, I'm not going to be a homer. I didn't pick the Grizzlies. They are my honorable mention pick. Number 1, I think best defensive team, Brooklyn Nets. They have a former DPOY category. They have actually a lot because they have Nicholas Claxton, who should have been nominated last year, Ben Simmons, Mikal Bridges. Now, what I'm getting at is if Ben Simmons and Claxton play together, like it just depends on what the hell the starting line is going to be because it could do Simmons, Bridges, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Nick Claxton. You can add Royce O'Neal into that over Cam Johnson. But I just think they have the best number of defenders on their team. So I went with the Brooklyn Nets for this, but the Grizzlies being the honorable mention, I ain't going to take away from that. Now we have a lot of questions about coaches. I'm skipping over these. The only 2 I'll go over is best head coach. Eric Spoelstra got the consensus, which is understandable. I want to give an honorable mention to Mike Malone. They were the 2 freaking coaches in the finals. Which head coach is the best motivator? I said Mike Brown because he came there and he got the freaking Sacramento Kings to the playoffs. So I said Mike Brown. Like I said, we got a lot of coaches' questions. I'm just skipping over those. The next one that I go over, we're now at question 35. We're almost at the end, guys. Don't worry. Which active player would make the best head coach? Chris Paul. I think a lot of people have said that for years. And when you just look at how Chris Paul acts in the game, he already acts like a coach. He's just telling players and even the referees the rules, and he's just like, hey, you didn't do this right. Like, what the hell? Like, the whole Jersey Tuck rule, counting how many guys are on the court at the time, and he just is thinking what is the right thing for my team at that moment. So that's why I said Chris Paul. Now, we're at miscellaneous. Question number 36. Which team is the most fun to watch? Now, if we're answering this for the 2021-22 season, would have said the Grizzlies. But I based this off of last season. I said the Sacramento Kings. They had De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis become All-Stars, and they played like All-Stars, and they looked like All-Stars, and they were definitely fun to watch. They also just had a lot of close moments in games, and there's a lot of time, and De'Aaron Fox ended up being collectively Player of the Year because of that. But I just remember specifically there's one game that was close, and Kevin Huerter hit a 3, and the crowd went crazy. Because they were such a good team to watch last year, the crowd came back and made it interesting. And it made watching that first round series against the Warriors exciting. And you didn't know what the hell was going to happen. So I went with the Sacramento Kings for this. But my prediction this time next year, I have 2 honorable mentions. Oklahoma City Thunder, because I think a lot of eyes were on Shea last year. Where now, this year, it's going to be on Shea, Chet, Giddey. It's going to be more so on the team. Where last year, I felt it was mainly Shea. The other honorable mention, Orlando Magic. I think that Paolo and friends are going to make this team a lot better, and they're going to be a better team overall. So my answer for this was the Sacramento Kings. Which team has the best home court advantage? Number 1 was the Denver Nuggets. 2, Golden State Warriors. 3, Sacramento Kings. Denver Nuggets, I think, was the answer, considering they only lost 1 home playoff game. And altitude, all that, does affect people. My honorable mention, Los Angeles Lakers. Like I said, I had to watch a full series of my Grizzlies play the Lakers. And when you were watching the Lakers play, there was just so many celebrities there. I don't know if that really affected the team or not. But it's just like the way that the environment is ref there is mainly going to favor the Lakers. There's so many celebrities there. And when you look at the first 2 rounds of the playoffs last year, they didn't lose a home game. It wasn't until the actual champions, Denver Nuggets, came there that they lost home games. So I gave a honorable mention to the Lakers. Which team will have the most efficient offense? Denver Nuggets, their starting 5 in the finals, and they were very efficient in the finals. I think that's going to continue over to next year, considering they have the same starting 5. Which team's level of success is the toughest to predict? It's obviously the 76ers, because we don't know who the hell's going to be out there, because the James Harden situation is still not fixed. And I think there's a rumor that he might still be out there. That might cause chaos and might make this team worse to predict. Minnesota being an honor mention does make sense, considering we didn't see a full year of Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert playing together. So I do like that answer. The honorable mentions were Mavericks, Thunder, Pelicans, definitely a great answer. Suns, Clippers. It's just a lot of teams that dealt with a lot of injuries last year, except for the Thunder, which Thunder, they dealt with Chet being injured, so we shall see. Which team has the most promising young core? Now, I'll say this. I'm a Grizzlies fan, and this question gets posed a lot on NBA Twitter, and Grizzlies fans get heated because we're never the answer anymore. Where for the past 5 years, we were always the answer. I think that's just a case of us growing up. Now, age-wise, we're still the same age as these other guys, but we have met our promise. So I think Grizzlies fans need to calm down a bit. We've grown up, where these other teams haven't grown up yet. So obviously the Grizzlies do fit this category. They just don't need it anymore. So that being said, though, OKC was the number 1 answer. I'm going to stay with OKC. That's my answer. 2 being Cleveland, I think it's a bit bullcrap, considering what I just said about the Grizzlies. Because Donovan Mitchell, he isn't old, but he's been in the league since 2017. And even the same with Jared Allen. Team-wise, their young core is mainly Mobley. Because even Darius Garland is signed an extension, been an all-star. He's been in the league a minute. So I think the Cavs being here is a bit bullcrap. Magic definitely fits that. Pistons, Rockets, Pacers. I think the Pistons fit that. I just want to see them be more consistent this year. Which player is the most athletic? Y'all know. I'd say Ja or Anthony Edwards. Shane Sharp got a vote. I do agree with that. I'm staying with Ja. Which player is the best shooter? Stephen Curry. Now, I am just now seeing this, and it makes me a bit happy. Luke Kennard got a vote here, who is on the Grizzlies. And when you look at the numbers, he definitely fits that. But I think I would be a bit insane if I didn't say Stephen Curry. Which player is the fastest with the ball? De'Aaron Fox, Ja Morant. Pick or choose. I'm picking Ja. Which player is the best at moving without the ball? Stephen Curry. Chris Middleton is a good answer. Which player is the best passer? Nikola Jokic. Which player is the best leader? Who would I vote for that? I think I said Nikola Jokic. I'm also looking at my answers, but I'm mainly just nodding and agreeing with the answers that were here. I'm trying to see if I have anything else different as we are wrapping up. Which player has the best IQ? Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, Chris Paul. I'm saying Chris Paul for the same reasons I said he would make a great head coach. Which player would you want taking a shot with the game on the line? Steph Curry, 37%. Kevin Durant, 27%. Damian Lillard, 17%. Tied at 4, Nikola Jokic and Jimmy Butler. None of those guys are my answers. Luka Doncic is my answer. There are several times, there's highlight reels of Luka taking the last shot and him making that crap. And even some are very difficult ass shots. Luka is my answer there. And then which change will require the biggest adjustment? Number 1 is the player participation policy. 2 is the tax apron restrictions. 3 is the end-season tournament. For the 65 game rule, I think I'm going to go with the 65 game award rule because that does affect every team. I was going to say the one rule where it's like if you have so many max players that you can't sign anybody off of the that gets released from their contract. What do they call that? I'm blanking at the biggest moment. Buyout. The buyout market. Which I don't think that's going to affect every team. So that's going to affect the top teams. Where the 65 game rule affects every team. So I think that is because a lot of, we just haven't seen a lot of, there's like, when that came out last year, it was just like, hey, here's all the guys that would not have been nominated for awards. So I think the 65 game rule makes the most sense. So that was question number 50. This is a 35-minute video. And I'll tell y'all this. A lot of times it takes a lot of takes to do these. One take this time. Give myself a round of applause. I'm going to try to wrap this up before I screw it up and I had to go all over again. So that is it for my reaction / answering the 2023/2024 GM survey. Like I said, the season is quickly approaching us, and we'll have more NBA content here. Now, I'll say this. I've done videos on and off in the off season. The main video I did was talking about the biggest moves each team made. And then I talked a couple of times on my Shooting Breeze episodes about some things. But I don't think I missed much this offseason. FIBA World Cup, I watched it. I just didn't want to talk about it because I didn't know a lot of the guys involved. I just know about Team USA, which, you know, everybody, they're clowning them. I hate that. Another big debate this offseason were, should we call the NBA champions the world champions? And I just hated every single moment of that. The obvious LeBron / Michael Jordan debates, which I don't participate in any of those, which I thought I was going to see a lot more this year considering LeBron broke the scoring record, but it also did not help that the last time we saw LeBron, he got swept in the playoffs. And then we saw a lot of I'm just thinking, like, what the hell did we, like, talk about this offseason? A lot of it was talking about Damian Lillard every freaking day, and we finally got that solved. So, like I said, the season is quickly approaching. More NBA videos will be coming around. Hopefully you watched all this. I'll put the link to the GM survey in the description or in the comments, one of the two, so you can be involved with it. And I'd love to see some of your responses to that in the comments. So, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. See you in the next one.